sinners, now and at the hour of our death.
Should be here for this today, but we're offering help to anyone who needs it.
No, but I'll take it. Thank you.
Okay, great, yes.
Holy Mary, Mother
God
of
bless
God,
you.
pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death.
Suppose you were to go to a hospital and suddenly you found out you were scheduled for an operation that you did not request. And the operation wasn't for your benefit. It was so they could take some parts of your body for someone else. Maybe in the hospital, or maybe they're going to do a little research on you. And it's going to be for someone that possibly will be born years from now. But it's not for you. It's not for your benefit. It's not with your consent. Would you go back to that hospital? What would you think of such a thing? It's insanity. It's unfair. It's unjust. And our Holy Father, Pope Benedict XVI, on the Feast of the Chair of Peter, which is this Tuesday, February 22nd, in 1987, he issued a document called the Gift of Life, Donum Vitae. And the document of Donum Vitae dealt with life beyond conception. It dealt with life in the womb and outside the womb. You know, recently our Holy Father offered a Vigil Mass on November 27th at St. Peter's Basilica for nascent life. And he asked every bishop in the world to do likewise on that same day. And he made the term not unborn life, but he wanted it for nascent life, which means life in its beginning stages. Because 30 years ago, life in its beginning stages was under attack, but in the womb. But today, the beginning of life is under attack outside the womb. It's under attack in the laboratories where we're growing life. Most people do not understand that the screening of the human race is taking place in the laboratories. What do I mean by that? Well, when a life is conceived in a petri dish, it is not implanted in the womb of the mother unless that new life passes the test. So there is a pre-implantation genetic diagnostic test. And if the child fails the test, it is destroyed. In the United Kingdom, it's absolutely the law. In practice, since 1991, it's the practice in America and around the world, that any life that is conceived in a laboratory, the quality of the life is determined first before we decide, will we allow it to continue to exist? And if it fails the genetic test, it is destroyed. Now, the life is conceived, it's experimented on, and it's destroyed, and of course, there is no consent. How could this be taking place? Well, the church keeps reacting to this culture of death with different documents. When human family, as God created it, male and female, and out of an act of love, human life should come into existence, was under attack. In 1968, Pope Paul VI issued the document of human life, Humani Vitae, reaffirmed the sacredness of family, and that God intended life sexual acts should never be disconnected deliberately from life and from God. But by 1987, things had grown worse. And so what Paul VI said, you must not deliberately separate the act of human sexuality and love from life and from God. So in 1987, it was then Cardinal Ratzinger, who later became Pope Benedict XVI, as the head of the Sacred Congregation of the Faith. He said, you must not separate the act of life from human love and sexuality. There's a unitive and a procreative aspect to this, and neither one can be deliberately separated from the other, because once you have in the laboratory neither human love nor divine love connected with this child, who cares, who knows, and you can do with it whatever you want. And they do. And it becomes barbaric. And this is becoming an incredible, it's almost a scientific, eugenic cleansing of the human race that everybody takes for granted. It's incredible what's happening here and around the world. And so our Holy Father, knowing that life is under attack from its very beginning stages, and we've lost it. We've lost the sense that human life is sacred, unique. It's a universe in itself, each person. And that human life should not be separated from the context being brought into existence in the family, in the home. You see, when you were conceived and when you were born in your family, to continue to exist, you didn't have to pass a test. You were accepted. You're God's gift, unreputable gift of God. Your love for your own sake. You don't have to prove anything. You have to show the quality of your life. Your life is sacred to God and to your mom and dad and to others in the family. But once you take it out of that context, as we have done today, and once you take it out of that context, life is at risk. And so the Holy Father asked that we now pray for nascent life, not just for the life of the unborn children, which is absolutely we need to do this morning when we go to help, but we must pray that all life is respected, that life that is being destroyed and manipulated and being used. In our country, President Obama gave the order that we can use all the frozen embryos in the fertility clinics now for stem cell research. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Here is a human being who's being used for the sake of others, no consent, being destroyed, and we take it for granted. This is barbaric. It's barbaric, and it must not continue. And so the Holy Father, again, he brought to completion the gift Donum Vitae with Dignitatis Personis, the dignity of the human person. And I find it interesting, when the President came to visit our Holy Father, he gave them two documents, Caritas in Veritate, which was the bringing to completion of the encyclical started by Paul VI, Populorum Progressio in 67, 40th anniversary, showing that an inhumane society will result if you remove from that society the Christian concept of Christian humanism. And he also gave to President Obama, he gave two documents. He gave them Dignitatis Personis, which was bringing to perfection Donum Vitae, and he gave to him Caritas in Veritate, which was bringing up-to-date Populorum Progressio. That a true development of people must take into account the full spiritual, the full human dimensions of a person, body and soul, made in the image of God, and it must be for the benefit of that person and not be manipulated and controlled, population controlled. You know, he asked him to read them. I don't know if he did.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death.
Grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Amongst women and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen. And grace